Chapter 9, Prisoners. Mayo Calo. The walls surrounding me seemed to get thicker with time. Maybe it was the darkness that made everything seem smaller, or perhaps this was the effect of being confined in a small room for a long time. I sometimes found it hard to breathe. Like any time, I could be choking on my own breath. I dreaded the mornings. It would mean a long stretch of hours spent awake with nothing to do but to plan for an escape that was not to be had. I wished there was some way to do it at times, but I see no possibility of that. The sound of metal scraping against rocks broke the silence. Against the faint light, I saw the food tray as it was pushed in under the door by my guard. I ran towards him. "Please let me out," I begged. The soldier withdrew his hand, surprised. He was quick to dismiss my pleas. I recognized him, Lomer. He was the same soldier who always delivered food to me. "Please, you have to let me out. I have no dangerous ability," I pleaded. "There's nothing I can do that would harm any other Akean. Please beg my case with the Emperor. I am sure he would remember that there's nothing special about me. Look in the registry if you have to." "Except that you came with the boy," Lomer broke the silence. "But Kino is not here. And I have nothing much to offer," I argued, although I knew it would do me no good to plead my case further. "Please, could you at least send a word to my father?" "The general is not here," Lomer answered. "But he will return. He must be looking for me. He will reward you." My voice reverberated inside the prison cell. It's been a long time, and I wanted to get out. The dungeon no longer smelled of decay as the scent had grown familiar to me. I could not even smell my filth. If I stayed here any longer, though, enclosed in the darkness with nothing but burning lamps to light the halls, I was afraid I would go crazy. Crazier than even crazy Miroe was. Lomer opened his mouth as though to speak, but he closed it again and turned away, leaving me alone with my thoughts. "No!" I shouted after him. "Please, come back." I began to sob as I went back to my bunk. I picked up the food tray and munched on the ration, tears adding saltiness to the food. After eating, I put the metal plate back against the floor. I laid down on my bunk and squeezed against the wall. I curled my knees up to my chest and tucked my arms safely between them. What would happen now? How long do I have to wait? Outside, I was almost sure that better things were happening. Adventures like running away from soldiers, meeting tree runners, fighting against hubbubs, all these adventures that I'd dreamt of having since I was a child, and now, all I could do was sit and wait for a chance to escape. Sometimes, I would find myself dreaming of the Akean registry. In those dreams, I was flipping rapidly through the pages, searching for Mistress Lamare Amark's entry, wanting earnestly to know what her ability was. In the dream, I wouldn't find her name. Instead, I would come across Kino Amark's entry where it said, "Ability, Distantekis." Or sometimes, it would be shuffling. On rare occasions, his power would even be invisibility. I have never heard of shuffling before, and I have no idea what it could do. Perhaps, I overthought what was going on outside. That's why I kept dreaming about Kino. I also dreamt about him shifting his ability from Distantekis to invisibility to flying. Everything was so weird, but then again, dreams always were. I was pulled away from my thoughts when I inhaled something different, as though there was someone new that was being taken inside the dungeons. When you are in prison, you get so accustomed to the scent that any change brings you panic. I wiped my tears and held my breath, trying to strain my ears to hear any sound. I didn't bother to raise my head and look at the commotion. I was in that place where I just wanted to sleep and cry. Even eating had lost its appeal to me. However, this commotion was the only excitement I had had in all the weeks I have stayed here. I might as well see what was going on. A soldier opened a cell right in front of me, and two others came in carrying an unconscious man. "Shove him inside," a voice said. "He might awaken," another voice said. There was a hint of fear in the second voice. "There's no need to be afraid. He has been given herbs to make his power weak. He wouldn't be able to use it any time soon," the first voice hissed. When the cell was closed, The soldiers stopped a foot away, glaring at the man inside the cell. "Wait!" I shouted. "Who is he?" "None of your business," came the reply. "What herb did you give him?" I asked. The soldier eyed me with so much burning hatred that I stepped back. "Do you take the soldier for fools? Each power has a weakness, and the one in charge here knows your weaknesses are. The herb given to him is different," he said, matter-of-factly. "I wasn't given any." And then, I flushed. If most of the prisoners here were given herbs to block their powers, and I was the one who wasn't given any, then the soldiers must know that my power was useless. They knew I wasn't dangerous, yet they kept me here. I felt just about ready to vomit. I swayed and moved back to my bunk. My heart thudded in hopelessness. I would never step foot out of the dungeons ever. One of the soldiers smirked. "Lomer, have you been talking to this kid here? Why hasn't he learned that he should keep his mouth shut and not ask questions?" From a distance, I could make out Lomer's face clouding from the chastising he received. "Please, don't leave me here," I begged. I was bawling this time. "My father's a general. General Renner Calo, look it up. Ask about him. I'm sure he's looking for me. Or if not him, please look for Mother, Bettina Calo. She would pay you a lot to have me out of the dungeons." "Quiet!" the soldier ordered. I fell silent, afraid. If the soldiers would not help me, maybe there was someone else who could. I couldn't tell if a day or more had passed. My stomach growled so frequently that it couldn't tell me the time of day anymore. Since the food provided to me wasn't tasty, I felt as though my stomach had shrunken. I didn't get as hungry as I used to. Sleep was also hard to come by. It was always dark as though it was nighttime. Whether that was good or bad, I could not tell anymore. All I knew was that being in the palace dungeons made time stop for me. I stood up and peered through the bars of my cell. The prisoner was still in his bunk, and I could hardly make him out from a distance. I heard some noises, so I went still to listen to the conversation. "Kill him," a soldier said. "It is best to kill him." "There's no official charge against him," the soldier replied. "I could have myself thrown to prison if I do that." The voices receded, but they were still loud enough for me to hear. "I'm telling you," the soldier said. "It was a mistake to let him remain here. He cannot do anything. Remember the herbs." All it would take is for the soldier on duty to forget to give him the correct dose of herbs, and this place would run amok. "I don't think we have to worry about that," came the reply. "Please. Think about it. Just give it a thought," the other voice said, almost pleading. There was a pause. "All right. Buy me an ale, and I will think it over. Convince some of the other guys about it too." Then, there was the sound of chuckling. I decided to get a good look at the new prisoner. I stood on my toes and craned my neck higher. If he were someone the soldiers were worried about, then perhaps he could help me escape. "Hey," I said. "Hello?" The back of the man's head was toward me, and I couldn't see his face. He was no longer lying down, but I couldn't see his face. "What did you do?" I asked. The man did not say anything and neither did he move. I wondered what he had done and how he was caught. Was he a victim like me? "I've been here for a long time. I'm innocent. But I guess it doesn't matter because no one cares here if you're innocent or not. I don't even know if there's going to be a trial. I can't even talk to my father," I said casually. My voice had gone soft. Somehow, it seemed like I was saying all these things to myself. Perhaps I wanted to hear my own words to make up for the lack of a meaningful conversation with anyone for so long. I waited for a while. When the new prisoner didn't move, I retreated into my bunk, where I lay until sleep finally took over.